Hello, this is Edgar again, and welcome to the Eye of the Serpent channel. I am going to talk further about some exciting new developments for the Mexica calendar application that I have been building, and I'm working this off of my testing area through my local host, which you can see up here. And I've scheduled this for launch on April 11th, Friday of 2025. And the most important development since my last presentation or my last demo through this app is that I've added a new form that by which you can submit any dates that you would like to see converted into the Mexica calendar. And so I wanted to start with today's date, which is 13 Jaguar, Matlacli Omei Ocelot, and look at some of the spiritual figures, the sacred figures that correspond to this date. I'm using the Alfonso Caso correspondence, and I know there's some controversy about that, but one of the next steps in this application development is going to include options if you want to use another correspondence. The default will be the Alfonso Caso, but I'll have Lorenzo Ochoa and other correspondences, so if you want to use a different one to calculate a date of your choosing. But for today, I wanted to talk about 13 Ocelot and some of the figures that converge upon the sign. So we have, for example, the 13th numeric is governed by Citlalin Ique, the spirit, the goddess of the Milky Way, and so this is in the heavenly realm. The third of the 9 nights is Piltzintecutli, and so these are both situated on roughly the same level of the cosmos. Below that is this Earth's surface, Tlaltikpak, and here we see Tlasolteotl, who governs the day of Jaguar itself. And lastly, the 13-day count that runs from one wind or one Ekat to 13 Jaguar. This 13-day period is governed by Chantico, the goddess of the hearth. And so I kind of situate her at the level of Tlali, so kind of within the earth or like in the earth, just kind of below the level of the surface itself. So these are the 4 figures that converge upon this sacred space-time date of 13 Jaguar. And this is an opportunity to show 2 things. First of all, that you can change the date, and then as I do so, leading to the second, and you can see that from the 13th numeric, the next day then resets the count of 13 to 1. And so we begin the new 13-day count with 1 Cuautli, Se Cuautli, 1 eagle. And this will run all the way until the date of 13 deer. And you can see that everything has shifted now. So the first Lord of Day, Hiutekutli, the fire, is associated with the first day. And then the 4th night is Sinteot, who is associated with corn. As you can see, the ears of corn in his headdress. The new 13-day cycle from 1 eagle to 13 deer is Xochiquetzal, who governs this 13-day count. And lastly, the deity associated with the Day of Eagle is Xipetotec, who so he is also situated at this level. And you can see that they are spread. We have 3 figures upon the surface of the earth, and then kind of the elemental realm, I have the fire. So we have the spring, the flowers, and the maize, all associated with the surface of the earth. And then above that, the fire and other elemental figures. And as I said before, I actually made this one up, but I kind of wanted to create a level where we can see the wind and the fire and other related elemental figures kind of below the heavenly realm. So that's why I created this one to situate these types of figures. And I also wanted to show that when I change depending on which month we are looking at, I've also set up the JavaScript so that it will give you the number of days within the calendar. So because we're in April, the last day is going to be the 30th. But if we wanted to go to May, then we click here again, and it takes us to the 31st. So if you wanted to see May 31st, 2025, we can do that, and we can see that everything's changed to correspond to this new calculation. And I think that one of the most important applications for this calculator is to look up your birthday, because I know that there's a great deal of interest in looking up, say, your birthday and looking at the significance. And I'm going to be adding more notes and details on the meaning of the individual signs, as well as the teeteo, the sacred figures that converge upon this day. So you will be able to click on each of these, and you can get a pronunciation, a description. It's a kind of like maybe a pop-up, so you can get a better detail on some of the significance of each of the figures, and also the number, the sign, and other aspects of the calendar. So I want this to be very thorough and comprehensive, and all accessible on a single from a single page view. That would be the idea. One other thing that I wanted to point out while we're looking at this is the February. When I click on February, it again changes the number of days that are available. So you can see that it goes up to the 28th. But I also set it up so that if you wanted to look at a leap year option, we could like switch up to 1972. And then you scroll down and it goes down to the 29th. So if we are looking at a year that is divisible by 4, then the leap year option becomes available. So we can see here, for example, 9 Ocelot. So again, as we saw in the previous example for today's sign of 11 Jaguar, I'm sorry, 13 Jaguar. Here, again, for February 29th, 1972, we had the Jaguar Day again. And again, we see this correlated with Tonalpohualli, the goddess of fertility and growth. We also have the 9th day, which is governed by Quetzalcoatl, and the cycle of Semiquistli, which is the 13-day cycle that goes from 1 death all the way to 13 flint blade, Tlactli Omei Tecpat. And so we have the moon, Tecusistecat, and the sun, Tonatiu. But I think that there's supposed to be a 5th one here, and that would actually be Tlazolteotl. She's also, I believe, associated with the 7th night, but I need to add that as an additional property. So she's actually being counted here twice, but to remove the redundancy, she is present as both the 7th night lady and the lady of the day of Jaguar itself. And I need to list out both of those conditions, those different stations, to indicate that she is here because through separate operations or workings of these cyclical units of time. So even though she appears here just once, I need to add that she is here in for two different stations. And so these are very interesting kinds of convergences that I'd like to talk more about. So this is kind of a run through of where I am with the development of the Mexica calendar application. And in the next development, I will have the correspondence calculator. So as I said before, right now the default is Alfonso Caso, which most of you won't need to worry about. But those of you who would like to use the Ochoa calculation or other calculations that I might find, I'd like to provide that option as if you would like to use it. So that's what I'm going to be working on next, and I look forward to demonstrating this further. So thank you all for watching, and good roads.